Open world games continue to be some of the biggest in the world, and with the insane variety at your disposal as a gamer, it's easy to lose yourself in them, and there are a ton of great new open world games that are coming out this year and next year and beyond. And today, we're going to list 20 of those, 20 new open world games that you need to keep on your radar. We're going to start off with Redfall. That's right, developed by Arcane Austin and published by Bethesda. Redfall is a very interesting open-world FPS featuring co-op gameplay, so you can choose between 4 characters with different abilities. You can set out on the battle against evil vampires in a small town. It's pretty cool. Redfall, Massachusetts. The game is set to launch early next year on the Xbox and the PC, and it's likely going to feature crossplay and a Game Pass, so it's going to be set up for success. It's one to keep your eyes on. The next one is Ark 2. Speaking of the Game Pass games, Ark 2 is getting closer and closer and closer, and the hype train is chugging along. Now, the original Ark was an interesting experience, had a lot of unique aspects in it, but it also came with bugs and a business model that was pretty controversial. I think it kept it from reaching its true potential, but the sequel is much better funded, and it even features the star power of Vin Diesel. No idea why, but that's cool regardless, right? Family, friends, and dinosaurs. Ark 2 is set to release next year on PC and Xbox. So if you're looking for an open-world dinosaur survival game with eye-candy visuals and family, this is going to be right up your alley. At number 17, Gotham Knights. Now developed by WB Games Montreal, the same team that made Batman Arkham Origins. Gotham Knights, action RPG, set after the supposed death of Batman, leaving his proteges to clean up Gotham and get to the bottom of things. The 4 playable characters are Nightwing, Robin, Red Hood, and Batgirl. Each has their own combat style, their own unique abilities. Now, the graphics in the early gameplay looked underwhelming, but the gameplay could still be really fun if they stuck to the main positives of the Arkham franchise's combat. Gotham Knights is set to release on October 25th of this year, so it's actually right around the corner. This next one, I'm excited for. Stalker 2, the sequel that's been awaited for over a decade. Open world horror FPS set in an alternate Chernobyl exclusion zone. The original game was one of the best single-player FPS titles of all time. Incredibly AI, the gameplay was addictive, the atmosphere was terrifying. The first Stalker dropped in 2007. Now, there were some spin-offs and prequels, but the official sequel is finally coming in 2023 after a number of delays. The developers, obviously, they're doing what they need to do to get it done. They've been communicating through their official Discord, and production seems to be underway, and they're committed to a 2023 release. I just hope they remain safe. At number 15 today, The Day Before. Open world MMO, set to release on March 1st, and it's set to be a post-pandemic America that results in a whole lot of zombies, survivors, and allegiances to be broken. Now, I know, this sounds all too familiar. It's a much more refined version of DayZ. That's what I get out of it, which, come on. That concept has been milked for over a decade, but this one looks really good. The attention to details is amazing, and the atmosphere looks terrifying. I'm excited for this one, especially since it's open world. Another one I'm excited about is Forspoken. This action RPG is the latest big release from Square Enix, who are one of the most influential RPG publishers of all time. The gameplay looks very fluid, if you ask me. There's a heavy emphasis on traversing the environments quickly and precisely. Now, this is the very first game to be developed by Luminous Productions, but if Square Enix is putting their name on it, their brand, their stamp, I think it's going to be interesting to say the least. This one is actually set to release in January of 2023, so you've got time for this one. This next one, come on, Starfield. Bethesda's latest attempt at recapturing the glory days. It's been described as Skyrim in space. And from the early gameplay and reports and leaks, I see it. The game's massive. Lots of little details, and while Bethesda's actual gameplay has never been the best in the world, Starfield actually seems to have a decent shooting, reportedly thanks to some help from Doom developers. Space action RPG was delayed back to 2023, but if it needs polish, I'm okay with that. At number 11, Spider-Man Remastered on PC. Let's all agree, Spider-Man was one of the biggest games of 2018. It helped establish Insomniac Games as one of the best studios in the industry. Sony and Insomniac recently announced this open-world web-swinging title is finally coming to PC, as will its mini-sequel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, the PC settings and features were recently confirmed, and it looks amazing. And it's coming out in August, right around the corner. And speaking of Spider-Man, how about Spider-Man 2? The sequel to 2018's masterpiece is expected to launch in 2023. Peter and Miles will be working together. They'll be against villains like Kraven the Hunter and Venom. And the gameplay, I would think is going to be refined from the originals, and the open world would probably increase in size and detail, which is saying something because the 2018 open world was massive. I honestly cannot wait for this. I can't wait to see what Insomniac has been working on. At number 9, Skulls and Bones. Not Skulls and Bones. Skull and Bones. Now, despite being in development since 2013, it's seen a number of design changes, it's had huge delays, resulting in it basically being erased from Ubisoft's to-do list, but it was recently re-revealed and it looks good. Spiritual successor to Assassin's Creed's Black Flag game, it's now set to release on November 8th, which means it will be competing with God of War Ragnarok, and that's probably not a really good idea. This one I'm on the fence about. It looks good, I just don't know if there's enough depth to it. We'll see what happens. Replayability is big. At number 8, Assassin's Creed Rift. Now, Rift is the reported codename for the next mainline Assassin's Creed title, and the rumors have suggested it's going to be smaller in the scale and more old school, but it will still likely be an open world title, as Ubisoft isn't about to drop that anytime soon. Early leaks have stated the game will be set in Baghdad, while others, now debunked, rumors suggested the Aztecs. And interestingly enough, the whole project was reportedly started as an expansion for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so I have no clue what to expect, but we'll likely get some confirmation from Ubisoft in the coming months. At number 7, Hogwarts Legacy. Ever since Harry Potter got popular, people have been asking for a good RPG about the universe, and it looks like it is actually happening. Hogwarts Legacy has been delayed 1,000,000 times, but it's finally coming at the end of this year. I mean, it's set long before the Harry Potter books, and the player will be able to make their own character and determine their own fate at the famous Wizarding Academy. Now, hopefully it doesn't get delayed again, although I wouldn't be shocked if it did, but this could be an all-timer. Speaking of all-timers, not all-timers, but all-timers. At number 6, God of War Ragnarok. Now, the 2018 God of War reboot, which I'm playing through right now, featured a semi-open world approach, and early reports of the sequel have suggested we're going to get even closer to open world. God of War Ragnarok will continue the franchise's shift to Norse mythology. It will actually conclude that Norse mythology run for Kratos and feature the God of Thunder as the main character. Now, the size of the world hasn't been confirmed yet, but with the release coming in November, we're going to find out really soon. At number 5 today, and these aren't in any specific order at all, so don't think, oh, he put Saints Row at number 5, but he put God of War Ragnarok below. No. These aren't in any order like that. They're just in numerical order. But Saints Row. Now, it started out as a standard GTA clone, but quickly made a name for itself as this wacky alternative game with crazy weapons, insane characters, over-the-top storyline, and following the excellent Saints Row 4, the developers didn't really know what to do. So here's a reboot. Set to release on August 23rd, right around the corner. It will feature a more toned-down universe, more realistic premise, which people are worried about. I'm not sure how the community is going to take to it, but we'll find out soon enough. At number 4, the new Terminator survival game. Now, the Terminator is one of the most interesting sci-fi universes ever, despite not having many good movies to its name. The first 2 Terminators, masterpieces, classics, and it seems that's the main vibe for the upcoming Terminator survival game. Hopefully, they're going to replicate that. We recently got confirmation that a survival game based on the Terminator universe is in the works, and if the early leaks are anything to go off of, it looks interesting. Hopefully this game finally breaks through and makes playing in the Terminator universe fun. How about Breath of the Wild 2? Now, there's a decent chance this game gets delayed again, but the long-awaited sequel to Breath of the Wild is supposed to come out on the Switch next year. Now, it's been a long time since Nintendo released a direct sequel to a Zelda game, so this is a big deal, although it makes total sense. Breath of the Wild is regularly called one of the greatest games of all time, so Nintendo would be pretty foolish not to expand upon that game's framework. I mean, there's no release date on it yet, but Nintendo is pretty confident that it's going to drop next year. Only 2 left. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Speaking of Nintendo exclusives again, the next mainline Pokemon titles are set to release later this year. Now, Scarlet and Violet will be the first main Pokemon games to be released on the Switch, and since this series has completely been handheld up until this point, the increased power of the Switch is going to make for some awesome improvements. Set to launch on November 18th. These are likely going to be talked about a lot after they drop. And the final open world game you need to keep your eyes on, this next game has had rumors suggesting that there's some major development issues going on. I'm talking about Fable. Now, I have high hopes for this game. The franchise kicked off on the OG Xbox, and while the series certainly peaked with the first game, it was a great trilogy, and I honestly want to return to the world. The upcoming Fable is likely going to be a series reboot, and it will be exclusive to the PC and the Xbox Series consoles. And last but not least, well, to some people, maybe last but least, I don't know. Anyway, Sonic Frontiers. Now, Sega is trying once again to make Sonic relevant. The last time they put this much effort into a Sonic game, it was Sonic 06, and we all know how that went down. Sonic Frontiers has been in development for nearly 5 years, and Sega really wants us to give it a try. Now, from the gameplay we've seen, an open-world Sonic game has potential. I'm intrigued. Let's just hope they don't fumble the ball at the 2-yard line. And they already avoided one fumble if the leaks about the release date are true. It was leaked that it was going to release on October 8th, which is the exact same time that God of War Ragnarok releases. But then we got an update saying they moved it to December 3rd, which, if so, they dodged a big one. There you go. Those are 20 open world games you need to keep your eye on for 2022 and 2023. If you found this list informative at all and you enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like, and we'll see you soon.